couple of housekeeping items this week. I want to make sure that you're aware that we're releasing our new book, one chapter at a time. And chapter number 1, which is entitled Mr. Brown's Drugstore, is available only here in January. So if you're interested and hadn't had an opportunity to download the free chapter yet, make sure you do so before the end of January, because come February, chapter 2 will be available for free and chapter 1 will no longer be available for free. You see how this works. I want to talk to you for a second about the difference between advertising and marketing. For some folks, this is old hat. For other folks, this may be the first time you've ever really explored it. If you Google the difference between advertising and marketing, you'll find hundreds, if not thousands, of articles that are written on the topic, because a lot of times people tend to mix those two phrases and treat them as interchangeable when they're really not. In very layman's terms, advertising is the message that's used to create awareness or interest in your product or service. Oftentimes, advertising can be on the radio, TV, newspaper, magazine. It could be a direct mail piece. It could be a Twitter post or a Facebook campaign or a newsletter that you send out via email. It's the message that creates awareness to your product or service. Marketing is the entire process, the entire strategy of how you reach out and make people aware of your product or service, how that product or service is different than your competition, how you price that product or service. Is it higher, the same, or lower than your competition? And why do you justify having that product priced higher, the same, or lower? It's what is our customer service strategy? So once we start dealing with a customer, how do we handle that interaction with the customer? Once the sale is made, how is that fulfilled? How is the service or the product fulfilled, delivered to the customer? It's the grand scheme, and advertising is just a part of it. The reason I felt it was important to talk about that, at least briefly, is because I want to talk to you today about how we work with our clients to really pinpoint a strong advertising message. A lot of times you'll talk to an agency or an in-house marketing person or somebody who came up with the advertising campaign, and they'll tell you, hey, it's a great offer, it's really creative, and it gets their attention, and then once I have their attention, they should pick up the phone and call me, or they should go to my website and learn more. Well, we use IDEAS as an acronym. We say, how are you going to build interest with this message? Once you have the interest, how do you start that dialogue? What does that dialogue look like? How does that dialogue lead to engagement from the interested party? And once they're engaged, what action do we want them to take, and how does that action lead to success? If you start thinking about your advertising messages in terms of IDEAS as an acronym, I think you're not only going to see a sharper message that comes out when you start to craft your message, but you're going to see a noticeable difference in the way that your interested parties interact with you. And it's a heck of a lot better than just throwing out a great offer and waiting on a phone call.